To me, there are three things we all should do every day. If we do this every day of our life, you're going to have, what a wonderful, number one is laugh. You should laugh every day. Number two is think. You should spend some time in thought. And number three is you should have your emotions moved to tears. Could be happiness or joy. But think about it. If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day. That's a heck of a day. You do that 7 days a week, you're going to have something special.
What was incredible about that speech, if you look back at it, this may not save my life, but it may save my daughter's life, may save my kid's life. His daughter, I think Jamie is our headline speaker this year.
Yep.
I think she's about 45, and she had cancer, and she is in remission or cured.
Phenomenal.
So think about it. Think about how it directly affects, like goosebumps, you know, to think
true.
about your dad gives that speech, years later, you get cancer as well, and because of the knowledge and the expertise of all these doctors, due to research, you're in much better shape. So, yeah, it's going to be probably a pretty emotional year this year to hear her up on stage. And not that that's what we're looking for, but that's part of it, right? If you laugh, you cry, you think, you have a great day. So that's what the event is.
It makes us think about how, you know, we are so busy doing what we do every day, and
health, you take that out of there.
And you know, then all of a sudden something happens where you're pushed into a state.
Yeah, you're wishing and you're making deals with the big, you know, you're saying, hey, get me through this and I'll be, you know, better at this. So yeah, you got to remember that. You got to remember health and wellness. You can't live, and you've lived in an anxious state year after year. That's, I think, where illness comes in. You know, I don't know why I got sick.
Stress
is a driver. Lack of sleep's a driver. Your nutrition falls off when you're not taking care of yourself. It's I don't know the cause, you know, but I know that.
I think you're right.
You got to be in the right mindset.
I think you hear about that a lot, where you know, people are under a lot of stress, and they don't sleep. I mean, I thank God that I can sleep anytime, anywhere. I sleep like a rock.
Just drop. Do you sleep enough?
I can't get less than 4 hours and then not be kind of really, you know, on my game.
Yeah.
But I can sleep 9 hours.
Yeah.
So when you start sleeping 8 and 9 hours, you start.
Your whole body's
recovering.
To yourself. You know, I sleep when I'm sleeping good. Getting enough. That's my goal this year, is to focus, because that's a huge driver of illness. Is just, hey, you're doing those 5-hour a night things. It's not good enough. You know, you got to get some sleep, man.
I'm thinking about the V Foundation and what they've done over, and in transparency, I did a little ChatGPT to kind of dig into some stuff.
Yeah.
And I was amazed. I mean, to date, I think it's about $458 million that they've raised. Yep. You know, and the other thing that was really interesting about it, they have their own endowment, and you probably know this is something that I've learned. But having their own endowment, and that endowment allows them to pay for their overhead.
Correct.
So that means when people are donating funds to this cause, you know that those dollars are going right to the specific research and things that are going to, you know, fight cancer.
That's it. It's like we work hard to get a $1,000 donation. We work real hard to pull dollars, and this is our 10th year. We put a lot towards that bottom line at the V. But what's wonderful about the V is if you give $1 goes to cancer research. If you give $100 million goes to cancer research. Kind of unheard of. And
it really is.
It's unheard of. And my struggle is those big corporate partners say, hey, this is a top-rated charity. You need to investigate this.
Right.
You got to take a look at this. And I think we're there. I think with the help and the contributions of like ESPN and the exposure, everybody knows about the charity. Everybody feels comfortable about the charity. But I don't know if everybody knows that fact you just pointed out. And it's if you want to say, hey, I'm going to give money, I want to make sure it goes to the right cause. It's going directly to cancer research. All of it.
Right.
All of it, because that staff is paid for life. So it's incredible.
I think that's something people should know. It's
incredible.
Because if you're going to, you know, if you have opportunities to donate to certain charities, you're going to want to donate to the charities where you know that dollar is going, that whole dollar is going to the cause.
You guys are a great example of that. You know, this production here in this warehouse and these offices and what you guys do for a living matters, and there's an investment to get that. And by you guys doing this year after year, that allows those ticket sales that come to that event to go right in, and it eliminates our expense. So you guys are a top sponsor every year, and it's amazing. So that money allows us to go, here you go, V, let's go put this to good work.
And you know, let me comment on that, because you know, that's a really good point. But we kind of feel, certainly I feel, that this is an opportunity to, in fact, donate and give to a cause that has direct benefit to individual. And you know, as Jimmy said in the speech, you know, we have an opportunity to save lives. And so it's definitely an opportunity and a privilege to be able to give back in this way. And the other thing that's really important, so HB Live is all about, you know, I'm very fortunate to own a professional event production company, right? And so I've always said, when people have a message that they want to give, right, that they should make sure that they consider the production element. If the message is important, then don't skimp on the delivery. Do it as, you know, do it like it's your last event you're going to do.
Yeah, and that's how we feel. I think that's why we're here. We consider you guys like our top partner. And on year one, where you guys started, I mean, you've been there for most of these 10 years. And on year one, you guys, in your graciousness and your professionalism, allowed that event to look like a certain caliber when the room wasn't as full. And it was full, but the event venue maybe wasn't as large as we're dealing with today. And you guys contributed, and you made sure that event looked like the ESPYs. That event, and when people come in, they're taken back. Whoa, didn't expect this. Didn't expect to see this level of event. So you're helping us execute that vision of what this is. And we appreciate it. The guests appreciate it. ESPN and the Sports Center guys that are on stage appreciate that. The guest doctors that are telling us stories of what they're doing with the money love it. And obviously the people, and I think it has a lot to do with retention. People come back every year because of how that event production looks, and it's amazing. And it's what we're here for today is, like, we're calling it, the event is Voices for Victory. This is the Voices for Victory gratitude sessions, and we want to continue to recognize you guys. Granted, I'm fearful of losing that, so we want to make sure you're there every year.
I appreciate that.
It's wonderful to walk in that room and see that event on that level, and I know everybody enjoys it, and it allows people to see. That's a big room now. We're filling that room.
Absolutely.
And we want to make sure the experience is the same for the people in the front row, which is my father and a lot of his friends here, the old timers giving their money every year. And the people in the back of the room have that same experience, from acoustics to the sound, to the video, to the screens, to the lighting. It's awesome. And that's what everything to do with HB Live. So,
thank you. And look, that's what we think about. That's what we do. We're really good at understanding. Once we understand what it is that the company, the organization is trying to accomplish, we then know how to plug things in and create. A lot of our guys have production backgrounds, right? And so they understand how the room should look. And even, you know, when we were setting up for this, you know, we're moving the plant, we're doing some things that we didn't even think about. But
water,
but HB Live, our personnel knows how to set up an event so that it's set up for success. So the look, the feel, like you said, so the people that are coming and attending this event want it to feel a certain way. They want to feel part of it. Probably the most important thing, though, is the messaging that's coming from the V Foundation, right? And certainly from the doctors and from the people that are on the front lines. And this year, you know, potentially some people that are, you know, in full remission.
That's,
you know, if there's garbled audio or bad
and
video
that room
or
is
whatever,
full of people going through treatment.
It just can't happen. So I don't care, you know, what kind of event you're having. If you have an important message to deliver, I don't care if it's an all-hands meeting, corporate, or it's a fundraising event like this, that's really important that it be at the level that it needs to be at.
Feels the way it does a lot, and mainly due to HB. So I think I expressed that in there. Okay. Event production, we look the way we do because of you guys. HB Live is a lot of people know the HB name for years. We have existed doing work together for my entire career, and you guys are a little bit different than you were before. Maybe give me a snapshot of who HB Live is today, what kind of work you're doing, where you're doing it, and who you're doing it for, and really how our community of V Foundation sponsors and partners can help.
Yeah, well, that's good. Thank you. HB Group or HB Live was started in 1988, right? So you think about, and it really evolved out of the larger HB Communications company, which is an AV integrator. This is an event production company. I mean, back then it was, mostly live events. And then, as we've evolved, and I think that's the biggest word, right? Yeah. Like, who are we today versus who we were? I think if you're a good company, you're always evolving and becoming better at everything that you do. You're also adjusting and pivoting where, like for COVID, all of a sudden there was no live events. How do we stay alive? And, the crew here, you just did an amazing job of pivoting and getting through that tough time. Also, making sure that we knew how to do hybrid events, or frankly, then it was all virtual events. Because people weren't coming to the office. You still need to get the message out. And so, here we were, how are we going to facilitate that? And, so we've evolved into a very high-end virtual and hybrid event company, along with the live events as they've come back.
With that same quality from the distance as you would have in person, or close to it, I'm guessing.
Correct. And the production value, it's probably important that I mention that again, but the production value is something that not everybody has it. So, companies that do their own all-hands meetings, or they use their IT department, odds are it comes off fine, right? They can, stuff's clear or whatever, but they don't have the elements, the production elements, to make sure that the remote audience can see, feels like they're in the room.
There's probably a lot of blending of, there's an event at one end, and then there's a group of remote people that are trying to participate and feel like they're at that event. So it's
so what do you have to do? How are you going to keep someone's attention? So they're not looking at their phone, and then the dog's barking or whoever's, it's some distraction. So we have things like multiple camera shots and how we change the slides or change things to keep the attention of the remote audience, because we're not just focusing on making sure the CEO is comfortable. Of course, that's really important, and whoever's delivering the message, but we got to make sure that the remote audience, the live audience are all thought of in how that event is being delivered. So I think we've evolved. I think the virtual events and hybrid events have added a whole dimension on our understanding of what it really takes to put on a first-class event. And again, back to the V Foundation. If you've got an important message to deliver, don't do it in such a way that the message is diminished.
Right. And maybe we throw a curveball at you this year, because we've had some incredible speakers. We've had some incredible content. And we've talked earlier about you guys have just done a wonderful job kind of branding our event, and the expectations that people have when there's a retention that happens because they come expecting that level of event that you guys have helped produce. We should document it. We should be recording it and maybe sharing it. And I know Bob D'Angelo, the founder of FACT, and we might throw a curveball at you. We'll give you at least a day to kind of prepare, but we might have a special guest dialing in this year. So we might add another layer to exactly what you're talking about, and give that opportunity for folks who are dialing in to feel that room, and for the folks in the room to be able to see the person potentially dialing in. So,
and it's really funny
evolution,
that you say that.
evolving,
Yeah.
attacking and reacting to
and it's
what's
funny that you
changing.
say that, but you know, we are used to, and we know at the 11th hour, there are always changes at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And as many questions as we ask in the beginning, and again, you know how we are with you. You're like, hey, need the video. Here we need all this. We need run a show. We need video.
So tell me, for the guests that might be watching this, what does it take to put on our particular event? I mean, just to give people an idea of how much you guys are involved in contributing. How far ahead of time are you planning this? How many people are participating the night of? What goes into the Voices for Victory dinner?
Sure. Well, the good news is because we've been doing it a while, we know what the event is going to be, right? And so now it's just making sure that we have everything in time, right? So that we're not doing things at the last minute.
Well, I saw the warehouse, so it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. So
exactly.
Cool.
And so another interesting point related to that is, we just met with another client, and they have all this audio visual equipment and they want us to come in and do the event. We're like, look, we're still going to bring a lot of our gear because we know that we have failover, we have things set up such that if something happens, we know how to pivot and move quickly so that it is unrecognizable if there were anything that goes wrong. And then of course the preparation and making sure that we have everything up front because we know there's going to be day of decisions, changes, or what have you. So certainly, that you mentioned that, I'm sure Don's ears are perking up right now saying, oh, you're going to bring in a remote, we should probably know that.
Yeah.
And so,
I've got an email waiting for me, right?
Well, again, what clients think are little changes can be monumental based on how we set up the equipment and and organize the technology and how that run a show is going to go. So
we all have jobs. We're 100% volunteer. We put this event on. The whole goal is to bring dollars to the V, like we talked about earlier. 100% of what we raise, we give to the V. So we're busy. People are busy. They're doing a lot these days. So to not ever, we've actually, I don't want to say we're taking you for granted. That's why we're here today, but it's a wonderful feeling to know that show is going to be executed at the level it is, and we're not going to worry about an image or a mic going down. There's redundancy. There's a panel of 15 HB guys there as needed, and it's very comforting.
Right.
It's comforting to know that the level of guests that we bring to those events, nothing's going to go wrong. And if it does go wrong, we're probably not going to know about it. It's going to be resolved before we even realize it. So we are grateful for that. And I just would encourage anyone from a corporate setting to a college event to an entertainment event to consider HB, because that is there's a reason you invest in that level of professionalism, and it's making us look probably better than we actually are.
So I'll tell you another kind of story. So as you know, I was CEO of HB Communications. So, we had 300 and something employees for 4 different offices: London, New York, Boston, Connecticut. And, when it was time to have our all hands meeting or our CEO quarterly, we were very focused on what was the content. I mean, what's going to keep their attention? What kind of information do they want to know? We just spent so much time over that. And the one thing I didn't have to spend a lot of time over, knowing that I had HB Live. So once we told them what we were going to do and what we wanted to execute, HB Live would then come in and support the event with lighting and cameras and streaming and music where we needed it and et cetera. It was so it was good to know, but the fact that I was able to do that, and I knew I only had to sweat over what was the actual content that I was going to deliver. I didn't have to worry about how it was going to come out.
It really does. It allows us to focus on filling the room, getting sponsors, having people buy tables, selling tickets, and getting sponsorships. It really affords the board a lot of time to go do what we're supposed to be doing, and that's putting bodies in that room to raise money. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and thank you. I mean, you guys are the one volunteering your time as well to pull all this together. And while we're pushing you to get us the stuff that we need, we will also forget about the fact that you got day jobs and the whole thing. But then, it's good that we think about it because, back to what Valvano said, if we just take the time to slow it down and really think about what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish, that's when people work together the best.
Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Tell me, you've been to a bunch of these events. You've brought some great people, some ex-athletes, which is nice. We appreciate that as well. I think people get a kick out of seeing some of your guests.
It's always great to walk in with a 7'2".
Yeah. Well,
UConn,
hey, everybody's taller than me, but that's all right.
National championship winner.
I would make sure you do it again this year.
Yeah.
But give me a special moment at some of the events over the years that you've enjoyed. What was a memorable moment at the Voices for Victory?
Well, it's a really good question because I gotta tell you, it's always the speech. The first thing is always how much that speech moves me. I don't care. I've seen it 100 times. It's still, I laugh during it. I cry during it. You really think deeply about the things he's saying, which is everything, So certainly the speech is huge. I got to say that listening to the doctors get into the weeds about what they do, because we have no idea the depth and the smarts and the time and the money that goes into what it takes to fight this terrible cancer. So listening to all the individuals, and no matter where they are on the food chain and how they are coming together to fight cancer, I find it a very big learning experience. Certainly hearing from people that have, are in remission or have been cured, and so I think it's what I learn every because they're different. And every event has different content.
In that speech, you can hear it 100 times, and unfortunately or fortunately, every year you're going to have a different experience or connection with cancer. We're all affected by it. So each year that speech comes up, my buddy is fighting, my mother's fighting. This year, I lost my mom a few months ago. So
it's terrible.
So it'll be an emotional night. That night, I've got a friend battling right now. So each year that speech comes up, you're absorbing all the content in that like it was new again, and it matters. So, I think the speech is why it's played every year. It's why we're there. It was the catalyst to start this thing, and of course, it's going to be a huge part of why we're all together and why we're all raising money. The doctors are wonderful. If people don't know, oftentimes for this particular event, the math is, we've got the ESPN groups up there. We've got a doctor sharing what their intent is to do with dollars they received from the V Foundation or what they've accomplished already. And I think that's great. As a cancer survivor or in remission, I benefited from that 2019 through 2020. I benefited from the knowledge. So that's an important part of the evening for me as well. I got to start paying a little more attention. But I'll give you an example. Is we had Dr. Chen. I hope I'm recalling that name right, from Yale. 1 year to tell what they were up to, and he said gave a wonderful example that we hope we get to a point with cancer where it's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a few days. Where you been, Dana? Had a bad bout of the cancer, like a common flu or cold.
Yeah, right.
And wouldn't that be wonderful? Like, knocked me down for a little bit, but I'm back here. I took a week off. That would be great, and I think it's doable. So let's keep raising funds and getting these people who are a lot smarter than I am to do what they do to kind of figure this out.
And I know it's really, and I've been somewhat fortunate that while we've had some family members that have been affected by it, I mean, compared to a lot of the stories I hear and everything, we've been somewhat insulated, knock on wood somewhere, but I know you can't get more of a front row seat than you had living that, and so I think you telling a story too is always very engaging. It's not why I'm part of the V.
Right. Bob D'Angelo, one of my closest friends. I attended the first year he put this particular event on for the V at Trinity College 10 years ago. And I attended, and I said, wow. You know, he had George Bodenheimer signing his book, and you know, he had a few people there, and it was wonderful. I said, I'm on board. So, you know, from that night on, we've been a part of it. I always joke with Bob. I said, I wouldn't have joined the board if I knew it meant getting cancer. So, you know, but one of my favorite memories of this event is I kind of was, you know, on my way out of treatments, and COVID had hit, so we lost the year on this event, I think around 2020. So maybe this was 2021, people were coming back. I think the room had masks on it, and people were dying to connect socially. And we put the event on, and I was still trying to stay involved and help out and plan and get people there, and it gave me a lot of drive. You talk about that, don't give up, don't ever give up. It's like a mentality. I wear this bracelet every day, and if I come across someone who has a great story, I give it to them. And but that night, working on that event and then attending the event, you know, you don't get surprised often in life, but Bob and the committee, as gracious as they are, had a special plaque, and they recognized me that night. Nice. Boy, it's hard. Yeah. That's hard to kind of get up there in that when you're fighting and your father's in the crowd, and you know, your wife, and it was a lot. It was a lot to take in that night, but I'm very grateful for that. And then we don't do it, I think, for recognition. I don't think you guys do this for recognition, or any of the sponsors. I think they're doing the right thing because it matters, and that's why we're doing this, to make sure people know what you're doing, because you've gone 10 years, and we really haven't tooted your horn as much as we should have. So that's kind of what we're here for today.
And Jason, thank you. And you know, obviously we're humbled by certainly the opportunity to donate or give or participate in this way. If HB Live can help deliver a very important message in the best way possible, then we all win.
Hey, well, let's do it. Yeah, let's make it bigger and brighter than it ever has been this year.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm already excited. Got to get my 7-footers lined up.
You got to get them. We got extra chairs for them.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, that'll be wonderful. Looking forward to this year, April 20th. AquaTurf, Southington, Connecticut.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we're 5:30, open bar. I think you know, and it's a great night of connecting. It's a great night. Sometimes businesses have to justify this. It's a great night of networking and friends and commonality. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to cry a lot. We're going to laugh a lot. So it ties right into Jimmy V's speech.
100%.
And let's go have some fun and raise some dollars.
And you know what, people. And anybody that watches this or tunes into what the V Foundation is all about, if you really understand the transparency that they operate with, and the fact that every dollar that you donate or whoever donates goes right to, you know, towards the cure. You know, I think that, you know, open up your pocketbooks. You know, come on down, be part of it, buy tickets. You know, go there right now.
We've got a great raffle. And the raffle alone is wonderful. To go to that event, and so this should be we're hoping for our greatest year ever that we have. We've got Jamie Valvano, as we mentioned before. She's our headliner.
Nice.
And how well does that tie into her father's speech? I mean, it's
the best.
It's goosebumps.
Yeah.
It's goosebumps. So. It's we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing your crew there and having a great night.
Yeah, that'd be great. And so again, thank you for thinking of us and doing this. And I think there's benefit to everybody for doing something like this. Create a little bit more awareness. We appreciate the thank yous, and obviously we're really pleased to be part of this event again.
Appreciate you.
All right.
As a friend, as a sponsor. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit more about, you know, the FACT group and the subset of this huge V Foundation, and how you know, came about being so responsible for this event.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I got forced into it from Bob D'Angelo, and I had no choice, but no, I love it. So it's our 10th year, and we waited far too long to kind of give you guys the recognition for helping lift this event up and making it look like it does each year. FACT, Find a Cure Together. We're a nonprofit that exists wholly to raise money for the V Foundation. It's our local Northeast events. So we put on the events in the Northeast to raise money for the V Foundation. And the primary event is our Voices for Victory dinner, our 10th year anniversary dinner coming up on April 20th, 5:30, AquaTurf. We're going to have a link so people can buy tickets. We need to fill that room as we always do. It's a wonderful event. Jamie Valvano is speaking this year.
Great.
So yeah, we're building a little momentum. We're making people aware a little bit ahead of time. We're not always this far ahead of it. So that's great. So yep, I'm on the board, officer with FACT, and I've been doing it, as I mentioned earlier, from day one, since Bob put his first event on at Trinity College. Our event has moved through Hartford, through different venues, and we've been at the AquaTurf now. I believe this is our 4th or 5th year,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that's our venue.
Sounds right.
And they're an incredible partner for us, and kind of on the same, as gracious as you guys are with setting that event up. We have what we need there, and as our event evolves, there's accommodations to make sure it can hold the
Sure.
crowd that's coming these days. So yes, it's wonderful, and that's why we're here, to build a little momentum for that, and really to acknowledge HB Live for the contributions that you guys have given us over the years. So great
Perfect.
partner. Yeah.
No, that's great, and we're honored to be part of it, moving forward as well.
Thank you. Dana Barron, HB Live, one of our title sponsors. The recognizable event that you see and that the V recognizes each year and is marketed by the V Foundation didn't always look like this. It was really a grassroots campaign that started off. I recall being in the Trinity gym. Bob D'Angelo gave me a bucket, and I'm literally crawling through the crowd, and I came across Howie Dickerman. So Howie, we know you got deep pockets. Come on, put a little in the kitty. So, I mean, there's golf events. Mike D'Angelo puts on a golf event each year that raises dollars for it. We have World Long Drive at Foxwoods that does a long drive contest. Proceeds benefit FACT and the V Foundation. So there are other events throughout the year that kind of we circle around, but it comes back to our Voices for Victory dinner, and those really build momentum for the dinner and to engage people. So the dollars are one thing, awareness is another. We talked before about what that speech means to us. I saw it live, you saw it live, you saw the championship game live. Well before that, there's a whole generations of people that
Multiple.
don't know that speech. So exposing them, playing that speech each year, getting them to be aware of what the V Foundation is, who the V Foundation is supporting, is important. So it takes effort each year, and you got to keep at it. But yeah, we don't want to lose that grassroots effort of just hitting the bricks and telling people the story and making sure people are aware of the V Foundation. It's shocking. You mentioned before, 100% of those proceeds go to the cause. Why aren't more people on board with this as their corporate charity? We're going to get there.
Do they even know that?
Yeah, we're going to get there. And,
so like you said, it's awareness. There's things that we can continue to share, and maybe, this podcast creates more awareness on multiple levels. Just, who is V Foundation, why, but I think it's really important. We've talked about it a few times, the fact of the transparency and, how they're able to cover all their expenses, overhead expenses with the endowment, so that every dollar that is donated goes right to the cure for cancer.
Yeah, I'm sure friends of yours, family members, me personally, and we want to make sure we don't lose that. We want to build that and continue to let these doctors do what they do from a research perspective and help all of us.
Money that's been raised by the V Foundation creates success for these groups that then need advancement. All right, so that they get to a certain point with the money that they got, but because they've gotten to that point, thanks to the V Foundation, there are other subsidies and other groups that come in to help that follow-on financing to keep that going as well. So because that's, the $458 million is not nothing, it's huge. But it sets the tone, and it's almost like a seeding thing to get it going, keep some things going. Yes. And then there's this follow-on investment that goes because of the success that these groups are having. So not only is every dollar going into the right spot, but every dollar's getting there. It's going to the right groups to get these things done.
Yeah, It's and making sure those corporations and those companies allocate that each year. Not just, it takes the same amount of effort for us every year to get them to come back. But I do say that this goes back to the production level. People come to that event. It's a great event to attend. They're going to come back, but you do have to remind them. Helpful to get a couple large sponsors. We don't benefit from pro sports here, and I think events that are put on around the country are the same scale as this event. But sometimes somebody's slapping down a large check and it's being matched by another athlete or corporation. We're not going to benefit from that here. So we do need the businesses within this state to get involved. And that's really what we're looking for. To get involved and then see the value of it and see that it is a top-rated charity. So their contributions people within the organization need to investigate and pay attention to what the V is doing with that money and see the good that it's doing with that money. So that's our role. We're spending a lot of effort getting that information in front of those organizations as well. So yeah, we're hoping for some good things this year.
And I'll tell you, one of the things we all know in being involved in a business, so many businesses, what have you, is you got to market. You have to, and the younger generations are consuming information in different ways. So podcasts and things, and making sure that things are going out on social media. We have to double down on those things if we really want to make sure that we're going to fill the room and achieve the goals of the organization.
And I know the presenters like seeing that crowd too, so that's a big part of it as well. They're not. It's going to be tough to get them with an empty room. So let's fill that room. Let's be loud. Let's have some fun. Let's have an emotional night.
I look forward to it. Again, I'm honored. Thank you for thinking of us, coming in here. Glad that we can help get the message out even further with this podcast, and we look forward to a great night.
You guys are great. Thank you.